Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your host, Dustin Rybka. With me on the show this week, Desiree Simone. She is back. This is her second appearance on Sex Party. We missed her. In this episode, we're going to tackle some of the current things happening in sex and dating culture. And right off the bat, we are going to jump into Taylor Swift dating Travis Kelce, showing up at his football game. Desiree has some controversial hot takes that might make some people upset. We also tackle the scandal with Lizzo harassing her dancers, forcing them to do sexual things. We talk about the Joe Jonas Sophie Turner divorce. Tinder launched Tinder Select, $500 a month to be in the 1% to find your partner. At the end of the episode, Desiree pulled some of her audience about some sex questions they had. We answered those. We also talk about when it's too early to be horny, about spooky season. That's going to be controversial as well. And I may or may not give a little hint as to what's coming for the Halloween special. It's a loaded episode. It's a firecracker of an episode, right? Let's get you to the interview. Without further ado, enjoy my conversation with Desiree Simone.
This week's conversation.
Desiree Simone, welcome the fuck back to Sex Party. I've been waiting to do this for a while. I know you've been waiting to do this for a while. This is your second appearance on the show, or on the program, as people like to call it. How the fuck are you doing?
I'm so excited, Dustin. Thank you so much. We've been talking about this literally since the end of the last time I was here. And I was like, whenever you want me to come back, because I absolutely adore you. So life is good. Life is busy as fuck, but I'm super excited to be back.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you back. And I think it would have been done much sooner, but the world is just so insane, right? And I thought we'd give them a little room. That last episode was pretty like fireball.
It was
hot.
intense.
So,
we talked about a lot, and it was like a lot of in your face. So we're gonna do it again.
Yeah, and I think this episode will probably be hotter, not to set us up for trying to outdo ourselves or whatever. But I think I think we got a lot to chat about, and I think that
for all.
This is gonna be a fun one. So
yeah.
Okay, for the people who are just tuning in, what the fuck is this? What's going on? I need to know what's happening. Can you reintroduce yourself? Talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, just so we can get the newbies involved.
Yeah, you're watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, and you're like, who is this gorgeous chocolate Barbie? And I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. Natural hair reppin', you're totally welcome. So my name is Desiree Simone. I also have a podcast called Break Bottles, Not Hearts. I'm known as the Boozy Bestie, but there's been a lot of rebranding in the world that is Desiree Simone. And something I've always done related to the Boozy Bestie, my podcast, my blog, has just always been in kind of personal coaching, and not realizing that's what I've been doing my entire life. Because I have a background as a bartender and a bar manager, and there are no better life coaches than bartenders. I will die on that hill, basically. So a lot of things that I've been doing lately is a lot of rebranding, which I'm super excited about, because now I am focusing on the development side. And as I like to tell people, I'm helping you get in touch with your inner badass. So I don't call myself a life coach because I think that's pretentious. But I've always said I'm the bestie that you call when you're having issues and you need to spitball some questions and you need advice. And while I'm giving you my wholehearted, honest advice, I am feeding you shots of tequila.
Yeah.
That is who I am.
Yeah, and it should it should be known that I am drinking, and I'll show the YouTube viewers, I am drinking a triple vodka and ice. There's one ice cube in there. There's a dash of lemon or lime juice, whatever was in the pantry. You are drinking.
I am drinking a triple of tequila with a very small sad ice cube. and also a dash of lime juice. So
yeah, and we did not plan.
We
that,
did
so
not plan the cheers.
Cheers to second appearance on Sex Party.
And as I said before, if you're listening to this on your drive to work, I am so sorry. If you're in the carpool lane, you know, the pickup line for your kids, this is going to be real awkward. So earmuffs, babies, earmuffs.
Yeah, maybe. Well. Maybe put the AirPods in their ears and then let us do our thing. Or you could just pause this. I don't recommend that I don't like when people leave, but you could pause this and resume later. I don't know. I feel like in the last episode, people were probably going down the street masturbating or something. I don't know. We talked about quite a few
items. Was I doing that? Yes, I was. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, shit.
While you're driving?
You just put like a silver bullet in and you're just kind of going to the HIV lane, you know? There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. So the podcast, right? I mean, lately on your show, are you churning out episodes weekly still? Is it monthly? Have we decided like what, is there a new formula? Because you said rebrand, right? And I feel like I don't want people to be confused because you're obviously still the boozy bestie, right?
Obviously, always.
So how is that, like, what's going on with the podcast? How is that affected?
So we're kind of integrating a couple of different topics. I've done a lot of solo stuff. And what is exciting is it goes well for both of them. You know, the idea of personal coaching and then at the same time, let's just talk over drinks, because I will always be that. You want to vent, you need some help, let me have a meeting with you. And I just met with a client a couple of days ago where it was like, let's meet together and have cocktails. Because I find your inhibitions are a little bit lower, obviously, when booze is related, but it makes it a little less formal and it doesn't have that feel of, I'm a life coach and I want a Tony Robbins real life. No, I just want to have you talk to me like a friend. And so the podcast, a lot of the topics are coming with that tone. Is there still booze involved? Absolutely. There's still booze involved. But we're just kind of like pivoting it a bit. The podcasts are kind of coming out monthly, but the thing for October is just to churn out more of the content. They'll be shorter because a bitch has a tendency to talk, especially when booze is involved. So my episodes end up being like 45 to like an hour and 30. But what I want to be able to do is just really give like bite-sized nuggets of insight. We're killing it on the TikTok game, so definitely be on there to kind of see a lot of development content. But the podcast will always be, you know, my little baby of, if you want a little bit more in depth, you want to know some personal experiences for me, where I've done some highs and lows, I will always be completely Desiree on those platforms. And I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I love about you is that you do get both, right? Like, I do see your content where like, hey, I'm checking out our new restaurant and you should try the pasta piñata and like, or whatever. And like pasta, did I really just say pasta piñata?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to let you go with it. I was like, yep, that's delicious.
Listen, I'm surprised at the shit that comes out of my mouth most of the time. So like, we may have just stumbled upon the episode title this early. Who knows, right?
Pasta piñata.
We're not limited to that. We will see. So you're like checking out these restaurants, you're checking out bars, but you're also giving out like valuable shit, like dating advice, business advice, these sorts of things. But then like you have like these fun kind of like let's rip shots kind of like stuff that goes along with it. So you're like always very balanced. It's great.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons why I did that, and one of the reasons for me that I kind of clicked to do this pivot, is in a sense, even at the booziest of how the podcast and my platform has always been, that whole life lesson of, I still want you to learn some shit. I still want to be the person that you come to where you're like, all jokes aside, all shots aside, Desiree, how do I approach coming out to my parents? Or Desiree, how do I approach wanting to have having a third partner in our relationship? I'm going to put the tequila bottle aside and be like, all right, like, just talk to me. Like, let's bounce some ideas off of it. So I've always, I say that's probably one of my biggest strong suits, is that no matter what, I will be able to look at a problem or a situation, especially as a friend, and be like, just be honest. Like, where are you needing support? And I'm happy to be that support for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think, with anything, everybody, it's great to tune in for like giggles and jokes and fucking drunken madness, but also like we got any good, like on this show, any good party, you got to get a little value in there. You got to learn something, whatever. So, and I think there's so much happening right now in the world of like sex and dating, and we won't get to all of it, but I think there's a couple topics I'm just fucking dying to see what you think.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
You told me one topic and I was like, oh, I got some thoughts.
Yeah. So, okay.
I was like, oh, let's do it. Oh, Mama's been ready for this one.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I think a lot of people are. And I think let's like, the first topic, we got to get to it right away because it just happened a few days ago. Taylor Swift, the queen herself, right? She showed up at Travis Kelce. Is it Travis Kelce? Travis Kelce's football game. The man scored like 190 points and kept pointing to the box or whatever. He beat the beloved Chicago Bears. It was like 41-3. But now the Taylor Swift effect, right? Like, I took my girlfriend to the show when she was here in Chicago. Did we go inside? No, because we couldn't get tickets. We were outside partying with all the whatever. It was wild and fun. Yeah. And I think, there's a chance Taylor Swift runs for office in like 2032. So like, but right now, before we get to that, it was the craziest look ever. But like, okay, what do we make of Taylor Swift showing up to Travis Kelce's game with his mom up in the box screaming, "Let's fucking go"? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm about to piss off so many people and I don't give a fuck.
No, go for it.
So my thoughts are very complicated because along with my many passions, and I put this on my stories where I was like, I'm so excited to do this episode with you because we're going to talk about sex, dating, horror. And I was like, throw in booze and football and it's my dream episode.
Well, here you are.
I am a college and pro football girly. Anyone who knows me knows that like the end of August, beginning of September, when football starts, college or pro, there are certain things that for without a doubt I'm doing. One of the many things I'm doing is I'm watching pro football and I'm watching my fantasy football. I'm in 3 fantasy football leagues. And in all of my leagues, I have Travis Kelce as my tight end. He was my number 1 pick for 2 of my leagues, and he was my 3rd pick for my last league. I'm going to look at it on 2 standpoints. Actually, I'm going to look at it on 3 standpoints. I'm going to look at it on football, I'm going to look at it on marketing, and I'm going to look at it as a Black woman. On the football standpoint, Taylor Swift touches things and then they are destroyed. You fuck up this man's career this season, and as a football loving person, you and I are going to have words, Taylor. We are going to have words. He put up some great points. I'm not even going to discredit that. It was wonderful. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry for your Bears. Side note, story time. My love of football was from my grandfather, who is originally from Chicago. So I started as a Bears fan. So my heart goes out to you. That was a great game. However, it's that kind of like everything she touches just seems to kind of like crumble in a sense. The
Kardashian effect. In other words.
It is a very Kardashian effect. So
not to talk shit about the Kardashians, but
we're not going to do that. But my fear on a football standpoint is that like, whether it's a publicity stunt, whether it's real or not, like don't fuck with this man's career. Like you're going to go that route and there's going to be some repercussions. And as a football loving chocolate girl, we're going to have problems. So that's the football basis. On the marketing basis, it's great. It's cute. There's already stuff around the NFL. There's already content swirling around that works on a marketing sense. That's cute and all. But Travis Kelce already had such a presence that he didn't need a Taylor Swift to kind of add to it. So what in the PR machine was like, this is going to be an additional factor. And part of me is wanting, as much as I don't want it on the football side for my fantasy, I'm wanting it to blow up so that the PR machine that originally probably put this together was like, oh shit, this is probably a bad idea, right? So I kind of secretly wanted to fail for that. Now, the biggest reason why this hurts me personally is that Travis Kelce for years had a love for the chocolate girls. And the chocolate girls loved them some Travis Kelce. We adopted Travis Deshaun Kelce into our fold. We called him our bae. We called him our boo. His whole personality changed. His fade changed. His style game changed. His swag changed. And all of us Black girls were like, yes, Trayvon Kelce, give it to us. Then Taylor Swift, with her cracking nails, came in and swooped what was ours and has taken them back to the white side. And I'm sorry, as a chocolate Barbie, I feel offended.
Yeah, I mean, and
I said it. I'm sorry, but I had to say it. I had to say it.
I mean, that's why you're here, right? I think it's okay if people are pissed. First of all, people are very used to being upset at this program, this show, this podcast, wherever you're watching it, listening to it. And that's all right. You could be upset.
Yeah.
They tend to come back anyway.
Your comments kill me. I fucking love it.
I mean, it's insane. It's insane. I get a lot of like, I would say the hatred's like 80%. I get 20% love, but that 20% makes me feel, you know what? I'm going to go on record right now. And I've said it before, but I'll say it to you. I love the hate that I get personally. And I love the hate that I get. I'm just like, and it's probably some weird rewiring, like neuroplasticity thing, but like, it feels like love to me. And so when someone takes time out of their day to be like, fuck you, douchebag, or, you're all going to burn in hell. These people are whores. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Give it to me, daddy. Yeah. Right. So whatever. So I'm all about it. Again, it's going to become one of my catchphrases, but if you're going to hate, do it in the comments, do it loudly, do it multiple times.
Because you're boosting my algorithm.
Exactly.
Do that shit.
Yeah. That being said, Taylor Swift, like I said, she's the queen. You have some great points on the marketing side of it, right? Like whatever. So do you not think that you think this was a PR thing? You really don't think that they're a real couple? You think someone put them together or what? And what evidence do you have of that? Because this is very interesting.
I mean, the fact that, so he went to her concert, he shoot a shot. There was a conversation. And like the next thing we know, you're hanging out with Mama Kelce. Like the timeline, the math isn't mathing, right?
Right.
Like it just isn't. And looking at the track record of the past men that she's dated, Travis Kelce. Okay, let's look at how his rocket has been skyrocketing in the NFL. Let's look at what he's doing on the marketing standpoint. Let's look at the Hulu deal where he's doing these commercials and he's doing all of this other stuff.
He's got a podcast.
He's got a podcast. All of these other things. The timing is just super superb. If it's a real relationship, congratulations. I hope you both burn in hell. But because that's just the Black girl in me talking. But like the timing is just like, again, the math just to me isn't mathin'.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an incredible point and you back it up with evidence. He does have a lot of like entertainment deals. He does have a podcast. He does have the Hulu thing. I know he was, there's some other show he was on, or is
Campbell Soup. He and his brother and his mom just did a Campbell Soup. Are you kidding me?
So this could, depending on how their relationship goes, let's say it goes good, right? He could be, it really could sort of take him up even another level. He was already fine, but he could go up to like another level because Taylor Swift is good in that way, in a sense, if the relationship works out, right? If the relationship does not work out, do you see it affecting Travis Kelce's endorsement deals? Or it would depend on how the breakup would go?
I think it depends on how the breakup goes, but I think also at the end of the day, I think that's the complication of dating an athlete. So if you remember, Shailene Woodley was engaged to Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God!
So remember that? Like,
I do.
We forget, right?
But that feels like fucking 400 years ago. And also, do we think that Aaron Rodgers blowing his ankle out and destroying his karma for his bullshit? We'll get to that in another episode. But I'm on record for saying it. But no, yeah, you're right. Go back to your point about dating an athlete, because this is we haven't talked about this yet.
So the big thing about dating an athlete is you have to remember that's a whole nother world. I mean, it's like that whole idea of like you're a normal person and you're dating like a Taylor Swift or something like that, right? Athletes are a whole nother story. So yeah, you're Taylor Swift. You've got all of this recognition. In some people's world, you're considered a queen, whatever. But this is also a top level elite athlete who has not only endorsement deals, but he has a performance to think about. As an athlete, we're still looking at some form of performance art, some form of sports entertainment. So whether this goes one way or another, the fact that it could adversely affect him on the field, that's where my first brain as a football fan goes, I don't know. Cause I'm gonna go back in the vault to people who are old, like my age. You had Robin Givens dating Mike Tyson way back in like the 80s and 90s. I know you kids are like, who's Mike Tyson and Robin Givens? Fucking Google it. Anyway, one of the problems that they had concerns when they were first together was her level of celebrity status, how it would affect him as a fighter. So I always go back to these kind of like yin and yang matchings when it comes to athletes going, how is this going to affect him? Because the Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers was around the time of COVID when he like, well, we're not going to take a stance with the vaccine or whatever, but like, did I take the vaccine or did I not take the vaccine and blah, blah, blah. And like, she's kind of got her own trajectory as a rising star. And then that just imploded. And this was off of him having a long-term relationship with Danica Patrick. So it's like, you have to look at how a high profile outside of sports relationship is going to affect the athlete, because that's who they are first and foremost.
Well, okay. So let me ask you this then. What if, and let me just dip in here and like stir the pot a bit. Whether you're vaccinated or not, don't fucking lie about it. And like,
don't do that.
I didn't lie. I just didn't say if I did it. Fuck you, asshole.
Don't lie. Just don't fucking lie.
Yeah, just tell the fucking truth. Have some balls, dude.
Yeah.
And now you're laid up with no career. So there you go.
With a supposed Achilles injury.
He's not coming back from that. So, okay, let's say Travis Kelce does what he did this last Sunday in every fucking game, right? Taylor's in and out because she's busy. We know she's working on all sorts of stuff, right? Let's say that she brings more people to the NFL, more women start learning football and whatever. It's like a fun thing. The viewership goes through the roof. But most importantly, to address your point, like he just goes bananas. And every game he's like spiking it, pointing to her, whatever. Will you then be wearing like Taylor Swift gear and like buying?
No. Fucking never. Fucking never. First of all, I would be insulted for people to be like, it's because of Taylor Swift that I now learn football. And now as a woman, I learn football. No, because there are millions of women like me who have grown up loving and knowing and understanding football. So I would think it would be degrading for the NFL and any sort of marketing and any sort of like pseudo social media to be like, Taylor's the reason why there's so many women interested in football. No, what the fuck about the women like us who grew up loving the sport for years? Like that's just insulting. So, okay, Travis kills it. And next thing you know, we're talking about him in this conversation close to the Super Bowl. Great. Awesome. But no, I'm not wearing any Taylor gift. Absolutely not.
Okay.
That is a hill I'm willing to die on.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to that. You know,
I
think it's important to also bring up the fact that Taylor Swift she turned down the Super Bowl this year, right? Performing at halftime. Supposedly she turned down the Super Bowl. So I think it's very interesting now that she has this sort of budding relationship with the NFL, right? Because they didn't get her. I mean, Jesus, they would have loved to have her. And it's going to be Usher who does the halftime show this year.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about that.
Okay, what are your thoughts about Usher doing the halftime show?
I have a quick thought about that.
Sure.
As much as I'm really excited about Usher Raymond, like super excited, don't get me wrong. There was a TikTok that I saw that I was like, fuck, you have a point. You mean to tell me as much as Usher is going to do a great show, let's be honest, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I'm not denying that.
We're all going to be fucking bumping all that shit.
You don't have to call. Like, I'm going to lose my mind. But you mean to tell me that you guys picked Usher when as of the past few weeks, all you've been seeing on social media is this emerging NSYNC reunion, and you didn't tap into that as a potential halftime show? Are you kidding me, NFL? All you needed to do was say that NSYNC was performing for the hat. Are you?
You know why though?
Talk about a missed opportunity.
You know why they can't?
Because
Justin Timberlake fucking ripped off that fucking titty cover with fucking Janet Jackson.
But
he has
this is a redemption clause.
He has like a 25-year ban though. Remember?
Was that from the NFL or the FCC?
Probably it doesn't matter. I think said that he cannot perform in the Super Bowl because he helped expose the titty on a Sunday. Yeah. So,
oh my God, it was a wardrobe malfunction. Shut the fuck up.
No, I love it. I love it. I think that I think that's brilliant. I think you're right. They're missing the boat with NSYNC. Yeah. We're all gonna fucking jam to Usher. But even when I saw that, 100%. I was like, wait a minute. Does Usher have like any hits at the moment, or what doesn't matter? Because
he does have an amazing, and I've seen it, and people have been talking about it. He's had a phenomenal residency in Vegas, and the Super Bowl happens to be in Vegas this year, next year. So he's been killing it on the residency game. Like, let's not deny that. But I mean,
he's a legend.
I don't know, this whole
it's just a weird choice. I think that the reason that NSYNC is not playing the Super Bowl halftime show is because Justin Timberlake exposed Janet Jackson's tit on the last time he was there. The last time he was there, he was fucking showing titties and shit. So I think that's why.
It was a wardrobe malfunction.
I agree with you. I think that whole thing was stupid anyway.
It's a wardrobe malfunction.
It's a titty. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucking boob. It's a boob. You know what I mean?
It's a boob. There's milk from that.
Exactly. But I do think it's interesting that Taylor Swift now has this relationship. She didn't have to do the Super Bowl halftime show. She has this relationship with the NFL. We'll see what happens this Sunday. We're gonna jump off Taylor Swift and we're gonna head to the next current thing that I think. I mean, this one, we might get a little in the weeds on this one, okay? And I know you're ready for it. I can't wait to hear what you got to say. So Lizzo is being sued by her dancers, her backup dancers, just to give my dumb a recap of the whole scenario from what I know, and it's breaking every minute. There's new information, but she had, and correct me wherever I'm wrong, she had a reality show where she had plus size dancers.
I watched it. Yep.
Lizzo is a plus size woman. We all loved what she was doing with the flute and shit and the dancing and the fucking self-love or whatever. But it turns out, or it may have turned out allegedly, that Lizzo was weight shaming and I don't think we can say sexually assaulting, but she was she was putting them in scenarios. She took them apparently to a sex club in Amsterdam or something and shoved someone's face
into
a
district.
A cock or some shit like that. So what are your thoughts on this? Because she is being sued by multiple people. Yeah. It's really kind of weird, to be honest. And the funniest meme that I saw is Lizzo's Tanya Harding with her flute, hitting her dancers in the knee and shit. So I'm dying to get your thoughts because I think there's a lot here.
So this one isn't really high on my registry of give a fuck. Yeah. Mainly because it's one of those things where it's just wow, that's a shame to see, because she pushed so much in body positivity and inclusion. And you mean to tell me that the thing people are getting you on is the fact that you're body shaming people? Oh man, come on. That's just such not a good look for you. And then I think it's also just really disheartening because you can sit here and be oh, well, they don't have a case to stand on and all this other stuff. And it can be fabrication and lies. But there are just way too many allegations all coming out at the same time, where a lot of these stories are sounding similar. And it's unfortunate because it's kind of that where there's smoke, there's fire aspect. If so many people are talking about it and their stories aren't that different, you kind of have to sit here and be so your whole body positivity was just a gimmick. That was just part of your act to get you to this status. And that is a real shame because she was doing a lot of good. And so for that to be the thing that is her downfall, it's just really disheartening.
I mean, and how do you listen to like It's About Damn Time or like anything how do you ever, those songs immediately lose their resonance? Because it's you want to fucking, it's thick 30, like, well, you want to fucking drive around and fucking jam your shit. And it's like, whether you're in the fucking pickup line again with your kids, you're like, I feel this makes me feel good, even though I'm overweight or I'm balding or like, then all of a sudden it comes out that she's an asshole. Allegedly, she's an asshole.
Allegedly. We're not saying on this podcast that she is. Allegedly.
No,
she's
it's
an
allegedly.
asshole.
Allegedly. Yeah. Allegedly she treated people shitty.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's, there's something weird about it to me. Like, like why? Like, why would she ever, like, what, like she couldn't, and she hasn't like I mean, has she even like said an apology or anything like that?
So if I remember correctly, she basically did like your typical Instagram long post, of we're addressing blah, blah, blah. I still have love for my fans. And if I remember correctly, like that post wasn't up very long because I'm sure the PR team was like, we need to backpedal. But then what did happen? You can't admit it. you can't admit it. But what did happen was before this went off and was like viral, she was at a Beyonce concert, and there's a whole section of Beyonce's concert where she's listing off like all these badass Black women, and Lizzo is in one of her songs. And there's like footage of her at this concert, and Lizzo is there, and Beyonce mentions Lizzo, and Lizzo's like, oh my God, this is my like full circle moment, blah, blah, blah. This all goes out and everyone in the world knows about it. It's like the next concert that Beyonce does. That whole section of Lizzo is taken out. Fuck
yeah, it is.
Beyonce was like, I am so not touching that. Yeah. And when Queen Bee pivots like that, girl.
Beyonce is the ultimate queen. So you can't, she can't be fucking, even if you're not convicted or whatever, she can't be fucking around with that.
Like literally the next concert, the next day after like the press got it. Lizzo made her like BS Instagram post. I think Beyonce had a concert 36 hours later, and that whole section, her name was not in it at all.
Yeah, of course. Well, you got to get so how do you think this thing resolves itself? She pays out and then her career's over, or like she comes out and says, no, I did do it, and cries and gives someone a big interview, and body positivity is a thing and whatever.
I think you're right. So we have to see how the settlement goes. And that'll determine what direction that she goes in. And then, there's going to be some big Robin Roberts interview or something like that where she sits down and Lester Holt, I don't fucking know, bring back Oprah if you have to at this point, because, say that shit to Oprah's face, right? So, and then you have that kind of conversation, and she has to die on that cross that she kind of is on her own build.
It can't be Lester Holt. I can't. It can't be Lester Holt. That doesn't
Lester Holt reading lyrics off of
It's bad bitch o'clock. It's 6:30. 6:30 is the time I do the nightly evening news. And I talk about nothing but weather for a half hour.
And I talk about the war in Ukraine and Lizzo.
Okay. So okay. Yeah, no, I think it needs to be like a strong, powerful woman to like look her in the face. And Oprah would be a fucking get, right? Like it'd be perfect.
But that's what I'm saying is like, you've got to say that to Oprah, who has struggled with her weight her entire career. Yeah. So like, that's the conversation where it's like, you're basically going to your mama and you're like, so I did something bad.
Right.
And I need to atone to it.
Right. Bad bitch o'clock. Okay, so there's a couple more celebrity things we can get to. We don't have to fucking dwell in this shit because this next one's kind of negative. But like obviously, Danny Masterson from that '70s show, he's going to jail for 30 fucking years. And I'm laughing because he fuck you, asshole, right? That's why I'm laughing. He's going to jail for 30 years.
30 years
for raping 2 women, and then Ashton Kutcher turns around and writes a letter of like to the judge, and like everyone's mad at Ashton Kutcher. Now Ashton Kutcher's like losing all this like momentum. Mila Kunis, right? She started losing like I know he resigned as like the victim's advocate chairman or whatever, but like good. Like I don't like the thing is like they wrote these letters to the judge.
They wrote character statements in his defense,
right.
and then the conviction happened, and now they're unfortunately having to pivot. So it's a sticky situation.
Yeah, it is, and like, look, man, like if you hurt someone else and it's like intentional, like they, you know, like he's been convicted of doing twice, and you're my friend. Fuck you. Like, I'm not writing anything for you. Like, you hurt someone else intentionally. Fuck you. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is they wrote letters. A lot of good those letters did. They got the maximum. What'd you put in the letter?
I was there when he raped those girls, but I didn't hear anything. I don't know. I don't know.
Fucked up.
I think what's hard to look at in that situation is you have to wonder what were in those letters, because clearly Danny had to have gone to the two of them and was like, okay, here's my side of the story. And he had to have painted a picture to the two of them that made them go, we 100% support you. That's kind of like one of my really good friends coming to me and be like, okay, I killed this guy, but I need you to know why I killed him. Depending on the story you wove, I'm going to be like, yeah, she totally killed that guy, but here you go. Well, then if the evidence comes out where it's like, well, she killed him because XYZ, then I am going to have to look like a stupid person. And I have to sit here and be like, okay, I was lied and I was misguided. But if it was, like you said, a friend where I'm like, shit was already shady and you want me to write a character statement, then no, I'm not writing anything.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Fuck you.
I'm not. So he had to have sold them a story for them to believe it enough to be like, you know what? You're right. Because I can't imagine that they were held at gunpoint and been like, write a character statement about me. Like, I doubt that
Make
happened.
it nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Use good grammar. Like, I don't think that happened.
No, not at all. Okay, so do you think that Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, do you think they survived this?
Yeah.
Career-wise?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. You give it a year or so. You let them lay low. They've already done a couple of social media posts of like, you know, we're sorry, we support victims' rights, all this other stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Him, no, he's done. But then they'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. He's going to get fucking raped and killed in prison.
But raped.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the Church of Scientology had a lot of cover up in that. And like, let's fucking bring that son of a bitchin' thing down while we're at it. We're gonna pivot. This is me pivoting, right? We're pivoting away from Scientology. We're pivoting away from rape, right?
That's good. Is something happy?
Well, this isn't happy, but this is definitely more fun, and a little mysterious, and it involves our earlier friend Taylor Swift a bit, but Joe Jonas and his wife are getting divorced. I don't know where you're at with this. Apparently, it's because the wife, Sophie Turner, I believe is her name, parties too hard, and he wants to be a homebody, and she was apparently caught on their home ring cam saying something about him that then he caused him to finally file for divorce. Are you familiar with this story? The Taylor Swift element is that 2 nights in a row, Sophie Turner went out to dinner with Taylor Swift, which is great. Again, like great for your PR game and your whatever. Yeah,
everything
exactly,
Taylor touches goes to shit. So all you do is proving my point.
No. I mean, what I mean is like, they had already divorced and she took Sophie out to dinner. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, and listen, I think you're going to get heat after this episode. The Swifties, they pack, they're packing heat. They might come for you. But
they're packing heat, but I am part of the beehive. So bitch, please do it. Please, Swifties, please come for me. I am D Simone, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X, go for it. Like,
I think it's a bad idea.
Let's please do it because the beehive is going to be sitting back here and we're going to be eating our popcorn going, none of this drama is happening over here in the hive. Right. It just isn't.
Well,
it just isn't.
I mean, and I am Switzerland. I love Taylor Swift. I love Beyonce. I think they're both amazing. I think the hierarchy if we go by like queens, right? It's
Mhm.
obviously Beyonce. No, who can touch Beyonce, right? But Taylor's a close second, and like that's the most rough thing you'll hear me say about Taylor Swift. Whatever.
Mhm.
But I think you're crazy for taunting the Swifties.
Well, you want to know why? I think this is really the core of it. It has nothing to do
Sure.
with Beyonce. It has to do with like this generation of like intense Swiftie fans. And don't get me wrong, love who you love, praise whoever you want to praise, but some of them having the audacity, and in some cases the caucasity, to sit and say that Taylor Swift is a better entertainer than Michael Jackson. Oh, oh, oh,
You don't like that one?
oh, 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 don't do that. Don't. You're seeing the height of Taylor Swift in the past 10 years. I'm gonna give you 10 years. Michael Jackson. We're talking multiple decades of an institution, of an icon that is global still to this day past his death. You guys, if this were a conversation that we were having of her dynamics in 30 years from now, we could have this conversation. But we're talking about a 10-year arc of like Swiftie mania. This man, you kids don't remember these like live at Budapest concerts where people were being medevaced out before he even hit the stage. So when people are getting there and they're having that intense conversation of like, she's the most iconic artist ever and she's better than someone like Michael Jackson, that's where I'm like, oh, okay, we're really going to fight here. We're really, really going to fight.
Well, I mean, if that's how you feel, that's warranted, right? And I think that like we'll always champion, anyone coming on the show and giving their opinion, unless it's like a hateful fucking thing, then you can go fuck yourself, right? And you bring up a good point, and the thing that immediately comes to me that I feel like people don't give her due is Madonna. Like, remember, like how much did Madonna do for sex? How much did Madonna do for? And I wonder why she's not getting that treatment.
I think because Madonna drank too much of her own Kool-Aid and was her own ultimate demise. Because every once in a while, I think about it. I want to say, I think it was, what was it, last year? She did like the VMAs or something. And she was brought on like a third string player. Ladies and gentlemen, and I forgot who she was introducing. Let's say she was introducing like BTS or something. But they were like, ladies and gentlemen, the icon, the legend, Madonna. And it was just like,
what? Yeah.
And then she introduces BTS or whoever it was, and the people lost their mind. And it's like, do you remember the institution to our culture and pop icon that Madonna was? And then like something kind of happened. I don't know if it was just her. I don't know if it was moving to England. I don't know if it was Kabbalah. I don't know if it was Guy Ritchie. I don't know if she was just believing her own hype. But unfortunately, it just like caved in. And it's so sad because no one in this generation remembers the icon that the sex book was. Like that coffee table book was just for a lot of us made us really reevaluate things. The Like a Prayer video was so controversial, but so thought-provoking and so beautifully done. And it was a great bop. So it was one of those things that it was like, to sit here and compare Taylor Swift to what she was doing in the cultural lexicon, and then bringing up conversation and being a gay rights advocate at the time where AIDS was at its highest. And these were conversations that were taboo in a hetero world. For her to go from that to like, and ladies and gentlemen, Madonna in between, Dixie Chicks and BTS or whoever else that VMA brought on, it was just like, how is a TikTok star getting bigger pull than Madonna? It's so strange.
It is really, really strange. I do remember her doing that introduction, and she did say something that stuck with me and will stick with me forever. Just being this fucking podcast dude, right? And that was that. And she did say it in that introduction, like if you're not pissing people off, right? all the time, then you're not doing something right. And I was like, God damn, okay.
Yep,
And it just reminded me of how much it bothers me, her being a musical icon, a sexual icon, like you said, a gay rights fucking champion before it was even a thing, an AIDS
Way
fucking
before.
champion before, right? And like she's not, and I think, but you know, she does like she was just on a song with The Weeknd, which is fucking amazing, right? Just a little tiny part. The Weeknd has said that he would love to produce music with her. That teaming would be fucking insane, right?
So
So
good.
like, so I'm hopeful for that, but I just feel like I hope that there's like something that can happen to like reintroduce her and her legacy, because her legacy, Madonna's legacy, is like so important to. It's equally important to music as it is to sex, right? Because like you wouldn't have, you know, like anything. I feel like you wouldn't have OnlyFans if it weren't for Madonna.
That documentary. Oh, come on, kids.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
If you are a modern day sex worker, you've never watched that documentary, get all the way the fuck out. Like, don't talk to me. So.
Yeah, well, we just went on a Madonna tangent, which is needed on Sex Party, right? So
we are Madonna fans
for sure, lifelong. This Joe Jonas thing, right? The divorce. He caught something on a ring cam. She's drunk all the time. I mean, now he's like being photographed walking around with kids. Like, are you taking a side in this? Do you not know enough? What do you think is going on?
Again, it's actually going to be even lower on my Lizzo give a fucks level. All I will say is when it comes to the dynamics of he said, she said, and bringing kids involved, it is always very tender. You know, you're going to use a ring cam as character evidence as who she is as a mom. Don't do that. Like that seems far reaching. And what I will slightly say in the defense of the Swiftie fans is, if Swiftie fans are coming to her defense and are like, don't you dare do it, Joe, you have got a battle coming to you, buddy. Yeah. And I am so sorry.
No, totally. Like, he's fried. He's totally fucking.
I'm sorry, guy. I'm so sorry.
She'd probably have to put out something that's like, please leave him alone. You know, whatever. Yeah. I mean, that's a doozy. And I think we don't even need to talk about it any further because there isn't really much more. There's no more evidence there. I'm sure something
not too much.
Happen.
Something will definitely happen. Like this is a work in progress.
For sure. Check back with us. We will have moved on.
We'll circle back.
Or will we, depending. Okay. So this is the last like piece of like current, because I know you pulled your audience and you asked them, hey, I'm going to talk to Dustin again on Sex Party. Like, what do you want to talk about around sex and dating? Before we get to that, because this leads right into that, Tinder, the dating app, right? You already know where I'm going with this. And I just need some truthful thoughts, right? Tinder has announced that they're doing Tinder. It's either Tinder Select or Tinder Premium. I'm reading that it's one or the other. It's $500 a month. And they have not specified what exactly you get for that $500 a month. What do we think about Tinder charging for Tinder? Because if you go on these apps unpaid, I will say for the very short time I was on dating apps anywhere, Chicago, wherever, right? You do get an advantage, a slight advantage, whatever. Like, I don't know, I did like Bumble for a couple of months. I'm terrified of dating apps anyway. So like it was just didn't work out, but you do get an advantage, right? And if your pictures are good and you're doing your thing, that'll help you. But $500 a month for Tinder, whatever. What are your thoughts on this?
So you have to think about, you get what you pay for, right? So it's like you said, what is that $500 getting me? Do we know? Have they mentioned anything at all? Like $500 Select is going to get me what exactly?
Well, I think there was some, like, I feel it's kind of murky, right? Because everyone like picked it up and the media and started going over it. But I think that they're marketing it to be like more targeted to what you want in a partner, and like the 1% of that. So they're like targeting, and there are like luxury dating apps, I would call them, called like The League and shit. And like The League has a thing where they're charging $1,000 per week.
Right. And you've got like a wait list, I'm sure.
Sure. Right. So I think maybe Tinder is like tired of being like the trashy dating app,
You
right?
want to
And
be
like,
serious.
right. So maybe they're trying to get a piece of that, whatever, by numerous articles I've read mentions the 1%. So I feel like for that, they're going to like highly target.
Right.
For $500 a month, I mean, it's $125 a week.
Right.
The lifetime Bumble membership is like $250 or $200.
Right. So here's what I would use this opportunity for, and why I would think this would be a golden opportunity for dating coaches. This is where you look at, okay, lifetime Bumble is this, Tinder is now doing this. You need to price yourself somewhere in between and offer some sort of guarantee, because if what you're telling me is I'm trying to spend $500 to find my partner, then that's where a dating coach who has expertise, who's got experience that's going to be able to be backed up by good client resolution, clients coming back being like, Desiree was amazing, Dustin was phenomenal, I gave him what I needed and he was able to find me X, Y, and Z. This would be a great time for dating coaches to undercut between Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder and go, you know what? If you want someone that's going to give you attention-focused results to find your partner, you now want to work with me. Screw the dating apps. Find someone who's going to be targeted for your success. And if I were a dating coach, especially someone that's been doing it for years and they need a new avenue, I would be using this whole Tinder's going to give you crap, but I'm going to give you love.
Right. Yeah. No, that's great. And I just pulled up an article on it from Fortune magazine, and it's the 1% of Tinder dating app launches $500 per month option for elite users. The CEO wants to make the experience overall even more fun for a very small percentage of our Tinder members. And it's $6,000 per year. So apparently, yeah. I think you might have to pay for it up front too. I don't quote me on that, but
$6,000? Oh my
a year.
God.
Yeah.
If you're a dating coach out there right now, you should be pissed, because you should sit here and be like, for $3,000, I can do this. And I'm sure you can do better.
Right. Sure. So Tinder has introduced a new premium tier that carries a charge of $500 per month. But even if you can and want to afford that, you're still going to have a hard time getting into Tinder Select. The general concept is that we are providing an experience for a very small percentage of our Tinder members. And the value proposition is basically give these members a better way to get high quality matches faster and sooner and make the experience overall fun. I'm personally really excited about testing these results. So they've really said less than 1% of users will be eligible for top tier level. So you have to qualify.
Right. So,
which is, good and, what? I guess.
Yeah, because think about it. You know, I'm Joe Schmo and I happen to have hit the Powerball.
Sure.
And I now have Tinder Select. That's not my target. But now I got the money, so now I can pay for it. Really? No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, and Hinge has announced like a $50 a month thing, which is way more affordable than fucking than that. I mean, $500 a month. I mean, geez, that's
insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, does that mean that the experience for normal users then will get worse? Like, they'll throttle down? Like, that would be my question, because I'm all about paying for your dating apps. I'm a fan of it. Fucking pay for that shit. Like you said, you get what you pay for. You really do. And sometimes if you're not paying, you might get a pasta piñata.
And I'm going to tell you right now, stale pasta piñata is the fucking worst. Yeah. It's the worst. Like you don't want that gumminess in your life. You need consistency. You need something rock hard.
Right. And if you're going to blow... If you're going to blow something out, you don't want it to be a pasta piñata.
You don't want to be a pasta piñata. I'm going to tell you right now.
Right.
Speaking of experience, a day old stale pasta piñata.
Yikes. Okay. So let's we're pivoting. let's pivot from the. I think we nailed that.
I think we did.
Everything going on in the dating and sex culture, like just a quick snapshot, right?
We did.
Y'all
we got you
it,
all up to date now.
Everyone's up to date. So
proud of us.
You did pull. Oh my God!
Come on, don't be a pussy.
We're slaughtering this.
Don't be a pussy. Cheers.
Well, here's the thing. You polled your users. Well, not polled, but you said, "Hey, I'm going out with Dustin. We mentioned it earlier. What do you guys want to talk about around sex and dating? And you got a few questions or you got a few topics?
I got a couple of topics. One of them definitely in particular was one that I was like, okay. And that was basically about sex drive and kind of what happens when one partner has a higher one versus the other. And I know for a lot of people, this comes in that world of new parents, which, both of us don't speak that language, obviously.
Fuck no.
But however, there's also the world which we do speak, which is life, busy, work, hustle, grind, where it's not that I don't love and appreciate my partner. It's that I'm really focusing on X, Y, and Z. And so the drive at the time might be different. So one of the questions was, how do you combat that? How do you address it? Do you address it? And then how do you make it work when you've got one person's drive who is here and another one that might be totally different?
Man, this one could be a doozy. I think if you're asking me, I think honesty is always the answer. But again, I think you need to tread lightly because you don't want to be a fucking rude dick about it.
Yeah.
I think most men are usually the ones with a higher sex drive, and they tend to just get and I've done this in relationships in the past too. Before I was self-aware, right? You just get very like passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Cause it's just like, it's easy to slip into the like, fuck that. I'm just going to make noises while I do the dishes then or whatever. Or like, I'm going to like not show up right at 6 like I normally do and, watch more porn or whatever. I mean, so like, don't do that. Like, I think the key to sex, and we come up against this a lot on the show, obviously. But it's for a reason. And I think that is like, you gotta fucking say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
It's the C word, right? Nobody wants to hear me say it again, but like, it's hard, but you gotta communicate, right? And so I think that you should say something, but also too, like there are options and there are ways to like match up sex drives better, like work at it, like see a fucking sex coach together. If you're open to it, there's like sex workers that you can hire that can, maybe fill in the gaps. It just depends on the couple, right? But I think you have to be really realistic and really on. That would be my advice. What about, how do you feel?
I mean, I'm going to pretty much echo everything that you're saying. And the biggest thing that you said, again, I don't want to say the C word, but it has to be communication. Because what happens when you don't, then you're going to come up with the R word, which is resentment. And you're going to start resenting your partner. There is going to be stepping out. There is going to be more porn. There is going to be OnlyFans subscriptions that you didn't know that your partner had just to somehow get off. But at the same time, if you're not communicating where you are, first addressing that, hey, my drive is here. My drive might be totally different, but my drive is here because of this, and mine is different because of this. Being able to sit here and be like, how the fuck do we make this work? You have to then have that sometimes difficult conversation. It's when you don't have that conversation that's where there's problems just completely manifest and they take over a relationship. And it's unfortunate.
No, it's the worst. And like, there's nothing worse than like two smart people that were getting along just fine otherwise, like succumbing to like some bullshit, like whatever. And I think to add to what I said, each partner is responsible, highly responsible for voicing how they feel. Yeah. If you are like tired and not trying to have sex or whatever, don't just say I'm tired and roll over. Like be like, yo, like I don't like when you smell like fucking garlic bread when you're coming in or whatever, or I am just having a bad time at work, or like I'm not sure, like whatever it is, right? I think you're right, it is a difficult conversation, but what's worse is that your relationship, and maybe it is that you discover you guys don't want to be together, or you open your relationship up, or one side of it. I just learned about polymono relationships, which is like a whole thing where like one partner has multiple partners just for sex and whatever. And so there are options, and I think it's nearly 2024, and I think that good people who want to be in good relationships, it's tough, man. And you got to get outside this 1951 box and and be okay with it and talk,
You have to have those hard conversations drive levels are going to be different in long-term relationships, marriages, whatever you want to call them. But you have to address the elephant in the room. Otherwise, it will destroy you. That's just point blank and period.
No, yeah, it will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Was there, that was really good. We just nailed that.
Oh my
High
God.
five.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, no, yeah, let's cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. No, we fucking crushed that.
We sounded so adult. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. For like 2 minutes of this episode, we sounded like adults. Was that the only one you wanted to talk about from your audience, or do you have another one?
No,
we can do it. Okay, let's do it.
It wasn't. It wasn't. So there was another topic of a gentleman who is interested in pegging, but it's also coming from the standpoint of wanting to have sex with someone who's trans. And so I don't really know if it's a matter of fetishizing, but I also understand that it's a matter of how great would it be to be pegged, and also what do I do? And then also how to pursue it, right? Like, how do I go about this when this is like a fantasy of mine and it's something that's basically a new kink for me that has just been unlocked? And then how do I go about it?
So this is a male, right? Okay. Are they in a relationship with a woman, or are they single?
Single.
Okay. They're single. So and they're just hung up on like the cultural stuff around it, where it's like, means that they're gay or something?
The appeal is, from the top, I look like a woman, but from the bottom, there's going to be some big dick. And I'm ready for the big dick. But
they're feeling shameful around that? Like they don't want to...
Probably, I don't necessarily think shameful. It's kind of like, oh, this is a new... How is it like in a video game? Kink unlocked. This is a new... This is a new kink unlocked. And so now it's like, how do I pursue this? And more importantly, am I alone? Which, let's be honest, you're never alone in the kink community. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I think this is great. I think that they should run quickly to whatever, there's dating apps out there. Yes. There's all sorts of, services. Well, you know, there's all sorts of bars, parties you can go to, like those are things. But like, if I were them and I had this thing, I would just start like, and I'm sure they already are, but like, just start like researching it, right? Like start looking at like, locally around you, like what, you know, Google is your friend, even though it acts like it's not. Sometimes Google is your friend, right? I would, it's not something you need to hide in the shadows and whatever. Like I would like, to anybody who has anything that makes them feel sexually charged and empowered and turned on and horny, you know, as long as it's legal and you're not hurting anyone, I'm so supportive of just like going and getting your shit.
Same.
So you know that there's bars where that specialize in more of what you're looking for. Go. You don't have to do anything. Go have a drink, see what happens, right?
That's it. You just need to take that very first step. And I think for this person, it's that, how do I take that first step? So you definitely give them several resources. So then from there, now that hopefully you're listening to this, actually, I'm pretty sure you probably are. Now that you have these options, now you just need to take the leap and take that first step. And then privately DM me and tell me all about it. So
yeah. I mean, and like, enjoy yourself every step of it. Like learning about it. Where do I go? Like make it an adventure. Have fucking fun. And when you do get fucking fucked and pegged and all the things, like enjoy that shit, dude. You know? Yeah.
That's a big dick. Tell me all about it.
I think that like owning it is one thing, and enjoying the whole adventure is another. So again, like, whatever you're into, whoever you are, listen, like what a fucking great question that was, right? Like whoever's listening to this, it's like, I don't know, fucking take baby steps, work your way up to it, and go have yourself an adventure. Like that would be, you know, like what a fucking better way to go into our final thing.
I know, right?
Yes. So there was a Halloween special last year. There is another one coming up. I can't say too much about it. You know a little bit more than they do at this point, right?
I'm not saying a darn thing.
Okay, so one, they are. I'll just let it out of the bag. They're gonna see you again in some capacity in the Halloween special at the end of October. That's all we're gonna say about that. But it does bring me to this idea that we're gonna close out with, and I just need to hear your side of it, because like you are someone who's really into Halloween. I love Halloween. I love creepy shit, whatever. But I'm like I'm a summer boy. You know, I love fall too, whatever. But I'm a summer boy. Like I love being outside. I love fucking doing all that shit. I love fucking drinking in the sun and whatever. Yada yada. Summer, Dustin. I have a summer birthday, right? We like to get crazy in August July, birthday. Right? Yep. There you go. Mm-hmm. So it's like a whole thing. Yeah. So what I want to get your perspective on, because it kind of burns me up a bit, is these people who are talking about spooky season in June or July. No. Why? And can you please shut the fuck up?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, because one of the reasons why spooky season works is because atmospherically it works when it does. I'm not getting spooky vibes on the lake, on a boat, drinking beer. That's not a spooky vibe for me. But a spooky vibe for me, crunchy leaves, crisp in the air, a little, okay, there's breath. Ooh, I can see it. Ooh, oh my God. Atmospherically, that's what makes it spooky. That's also what makes horror, which is one of the things that you and I like geeked out with in the beginning. And we were like, fuck, I fucking love this dude. That's one of the things that make horror so enticing, because atmospherically, that's what gets you. Atmospherically, season-wise, you're not getting that in July. You're just not.
No, you're messing up my birthday. Stop it.
You're ruining his birthday. And in August, you're ruining mine, because for me, when my birthday towards the end of August comes, I know the following week is the beginning of football season. You need to let me have football season at the very start. And then I'm like, let's start getting into some scary shit.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to do spooky season September 1. I'm all for that. But you guys cannot have June, July, or August. Those are mine.
You can't do it. You can't. No. Okay, I get it. You've got some iconic horror films in the summer. I know what you did last summer. You've got films that are based at a sleepaway camp. You've got Sleepaway Camp. You've got iconic films. Yeah. So good. Such a great twist. Oh my God. Yeah. And it's I won't even spoil it for those. Listen, you'll never see it coming. You will not. Matter of fact, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this and you've honestly never seen Sleepaway Camp, and you can tell me within the first hour that you know the twist, I will personally send you a bottle of tequila. Because I'm telling you, the first time I watched it, and then you see the ending and you're like, what?
Yep.
And then it's so good. But you've got all these great iconic films in the horror genre that are in the summertime. Does not mean that in June, I need to be going to Hobby Lobby and I need to be getting sunscreen and a jack-o'-lantern. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't fucking deep throat all the pumpkins like in fucking June and July. Like, do your thing, but like do it in September. It's cool if you're like, oh my God, this Halloween we should be this, like whatever. But don't
let's have conversations.
Come on social media complaining about fucking this and that. No, we all know what comes after Halloween. And that is fucking snow and death, and we don't like it.
It's horrible. So fuck off. Right. And it's just like Halloween is like the last bit of like my happiness, because then it's cold. And I live in Florida, and even Florida cold, I fucking hate it. It's just like, there's a beach here. I should be on the beach right now. I should be in the water. Why am I in a parka on the beach? Like, that's just not that's not fair, dude.
No, it's not fair at all. I mean, I love you, my spooky season people. I really, really do. But you got to give us the summer. Desiree Simone, thank you so much for being here again on Sex Party. Let's remind these gorgeous and probably slightly pissed off party goers where they can find you, where they can send you messages, listen to the podcast, berate you for the Taylor Swift stuff.
All of those things. Swifties, I do love you. You have a passion just like I have for Beyonce. My passion for Michael Jackson will always be there. I respect your passion, but respectfully, don't ruin my fantasy football. So you can find me at Desiree-Simone.com. That is my website. It takes you to all of my outlets, my blog, my podcast, all of my social. But Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Twitter X. Is that what we're calling it? X, Twitter X. What are we calling it?
I don't know. Fucking exit.
Exit and Threads. All of those things consistently at I am D Simone. And then the podcast is Break Bottles, Not Hearts. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere podcasts are available.
I mean, it will all be linked below. They already know this. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun. I can't wait till Halloween.
I'm so ready for some scary shit. I can't wait. Dustin, thank you again.
This. See you soon.
Bye.
I told you guys there's going to be some controversial hot takes in this episode. Thank you to my friend Desiree Simone for being my guest once again on the show. Swifties, take it easy on Desiree. She's a lovely person. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And she gave you guys credit towards the end. If you guys are loving Sex Party, you want to see Desiree again, you just can't get enough. What do, right? You're listening on platforms like Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, whatever. You could subscribe to the show. That's the most important part. You never miss an episode if you subscribe to the show. You could leave a rating. You could leave a review. You don't have to. It's totally up to you, right? If you're watching on YouTube, what the hell? What the hell? If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. I see you. I appreciate you so, so much. You can subscribe to the channel on YouTube. You can leave a comment. We love those. I mean, you guys know how much it means to me when you show support, but you never, ever have to do anything you don't want to do. You can just kick back and enjoy these episodes. But every time you show some support, this show grows just a little bit more. And I love you for that. As always, I'm available in the DMs on Instagram, and I will see you all right back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at Sex Party FM. Follow Dustin at Dustin Rybka.